Long ago, deep within the bustling heart of Ajuan, a place where people seemed to enjoy chaos more than calm, there lived a woman called Mama Shanko. She was a tough, razor-tongued single mother who made her living selling food items in the local market. Life had thrown her many blows, but she always punched back harder. Her son, however, was a different story altogether. His name was Shanko, and even the devil scratched his head in confusion when he was born. At only 10 years old, Shanko had become famous throughout the noisy Face Me I Face You compound. He was a perfect mix of genius and madness. His face was as innocent as spring water, but his brain sparked like a misfiring wire. Nothing escaped his mischief. One time, he smeared red oil on a stretched-out bike tube and yelled, "Snake!" causing the whole compound to rush out, armed with broken bottles. Shanko never knew his father. Word on the street was that the man took off with another woman the moment Shanko turned 4. Mama Shanko never confirmed the tale. She only had one response: "Don't ever ask me about that man." One bright Sunday morning, Mama Shanko was getting ready for church. Dressed in her favorite blue and white ankara, she had just fully charged her old techno phone and placed it carefully on the wooden stool beside her bed. Shanko, meanwhile, was sweeping with the energy of a performer, but his eyes were fixed on that phone like a cat watching a bowl of fish. As his mother sang, "Anisha Ayanu," from the corner of her mouth, Shanko quietly picked up the phone, silenced the ringer, and slipped it under her pillow. Then he waited patiently for the drama to begin. Later that afternoon, after church, Mama Shanko sat outside chatting with her neighbor, Mama Cynthia, discussing how Sister Elizabeth Gilly looked like a wrapped mosquito net in her oversized outfit. That was when the phone began buzzing quietly under the pillow, but not a sound came out. It buzzed again. Still no sound. By the time she went inside and reached for the phone, there were already 6 missed calls, all from Madame Abney, a big customer trying to confirm a bulk order. She frowned. "Aha, this phone didn't ring. Oh, Shanko. Come here." Shanko rushed in with a worried face. "Mummy, what happened? My phone didn't ring. Abney tried me 6 times and I didn't hear a thing." Shanko froze like someone who just heard from the ancestors. "Mummy. It has happened. Oh. What has happened?" He sighed deeply. "It's the ringing tone, Mummy." "What about it?" "It has expired," Shanko said, eyes wide with confidence. "They usually give new phones free ringing tone. But after a while, it finishes." Mama Shanko blinked. "Wait, so now phone ringing tone day expire?" "Yes, now. Ask Kenny's brother. Once it expires, the phone won't ring, only vibrate. That's why you didn't hear anything. You need to buy a new one." She paused, confused. So how much is this ringing tone now?" Shanko scratched his head like he was solving a national budget. "It depends, Mummy. One that rings clearly is 1,500 naira. But the one with melody, like Okemuo, that one is 1,700. I just want the one that rings simple," she snapped. "No problem, Mummy. Just give me 1,500 and I'll get the ringing tone now from that repair boy near the transformer." Mama Shanko sighed, opened her palm, and muttered, "This life tire person. Even ringing tone don't get price." She handed him the 1,500 and the phone. Shanko dashed out of the compound, hopped into a kiki, bought 2 gala and a bottle of soft drink, and pocketed the remaining 1,200. He then spent the next hour playing football behind the mosque. When he returned, he dropped to his knees dramatically and handed her the phone. "Mummy, it is done. Your phone will ring now." To test it, she borrowed Mama Cynthia's phone to call hers, and sure enough, it rang loudly. "Ah! It's ringing. Shanko, God will reward you." Shanko beamed like a prophet who had just divided the sea with a walking stick. That evening, Mama Shanko proudly visited a neighbor's house and said, "This my boy N, he may be stubborn, but he's very sharp." Imagine, he solved my ringing tone issue just like that. Ah. Technology is moving fast, oh. Meanwhile, in his usual corner, Shanko was giving a TED talk to his friends on how he made 1,500 naira from pure vibes and mischief. He ended the story with his chest raised high, declaring, "In this country, na person way get sense go suffer pass." Elsewhere, for the past week, Ajagan Compound Phase 2 had been swallowed in deep darkness. The entire Face Me I Face You community had been forced to boil pure water on smoky kerosene stoves, pay Mama Lovette 15 naira per hour just to charge phones, and press clothes by trapping them under heavy buckets overnight. Even Mama Shanko's rechargeable lamp had given up, it now lay quietly under her bed, right next to the ghost of her dead pressing iron. She was already exhausted. So, when PHCN finally brought light that Thursday evening, the compound erupted like Nigeria just won the World Cup. Children ran out half-naked, dancing and screaming, "Light dawn come oh." But while others danced, Shanko was quiet in his corner, plotting his next experiment. You see, he'd been watching YouTube videos at a friend's kiosk where someone carried out a prank with electricity, and from that moment, a devilish idea sparked in his mind like fireworks. I better pass my neighbor, generator still had leftover fuel from the previous week. So, just as the power came back, Mama Shanko hurried to plug in her phone and put water to boil. That's when Shanko tiptoed to the main switch in the hallway, and flipped it off. Then he crept to the backyard, started the generator, and returned like nothing had happened. Mama Shanko blinked, confused. Aha! Where is the light again? My phone has stopped charging. She frowned. So quick. These people took the light again. Before anyone could reply, the generator roared to life, "Gur gur." Shanko walked in scratching his head, acting innocent. "Mummy, maybe Nipa only brought half light. Sometimes only one side of the compound gets it. But don't worry, I've already switched on the gen." Mama Shanko clutched her chest. "I just plugged rice now. And my phone too. You mean this light didn't even last 5 minutes? These Nipa people need serious beating." Grumbling, she lit the kerosene stove again and yelled out to the compound, "My own light didn't even stay up to 5 minutes. This country is finished." But across the compound, other neighbors were still enjoying full electricity. That was when suspicion started to rise. Uncle Yakubu, the compound's part-time electrician, strolled past and noticed the switch to Mama Shanko's room had been turned off. He tapped it back on, click, and immediately the bulb in her room came alive. She gasped. But I thought they took the light." Yakubu shook his head. "Nipa never take light oh." It was like thunder struck her forehead. Then realization struck. Shanko, who was busy chewing biscuits while hiding behind the bathroom door, tried to escape. "Don't run oh. Come back here. So you turned off the switch and used my 900 naira fuel on generator," she yelled, removing her slippers and grabbing a long broom. She chased him down the corridor. "Shanko. You want to kill me before my time? It will not work." Neighbors came out, laughing loudly. "Ah, it's Shanko again. Leave him with me for just one day," one auntie shouted. "I'll reformat his head." Later that night, Shanko came back home quietly. But Mama Shanko refused to serve him dinner. "You'll explain why you used my fuel when I'm still owing the pepper woman in the market." Shanko mumbled with a straight face, "Mummy, I was just checking if Gen sound can cover Nipa light. It was a social experiment." She stared at him long and hard before sighing, "Don't worry. I'll ask the prophet at church to lay hands on you tomorrow." Shanko's eyes widened like saucers. "Aw Mummy, please no. I'll change. Laying hands is too extreme." By the time Shanko turned 15, things had escalated. On one dull Tuesday, after devouring a large plate of EBA and okra, his mother warned him not to wander about like a stray goat. But Shanko had other plans. As he sat beneath the mango tree in the compound, he spotted two men in clean shirts holding clipboards, walking into the next street. Then he overheard someone whisper, "Those are census people." A wicked spark lit up in his brain. Census, ABI. I will do my own. He quickly borrowed a jotter and pen from Kenny, his faithful partner in mischief. Then he wore a white shirt, borrowed his mother's oversized reading glasses, and his disguise was complete. He knocked on the first door with confidence. "Good afternoon, Ma," he said in an exaggerated British tone. "Yes. What do you want?" the woman replied, eyeing him. He smiled like a professional. "I'm from the National Children's Biscuit Census Board. We're counting all snacks per family. It's a new directive from the President for child food planning." The woman blinked. We only have cabin biscuits." Shanko nodded, serious-faced. "All right, Ma. I'll need 4 pieces for testing." "Thank you." She handed him the biscuits. Shanko scribbled in his notebook, "Mama cabin, dry and tasteless. 1 point." And so, Shanko continued house to house, asking ridiculous census questions like, "How many men have entered your room in 2 months? Do you cook with groundnut oil or use power oil? Do you and your neighbors share the same potty? Does your daughter return late at night?" By the 5th house, word had started to spread. The neighbors were whispering, "Mama Bisa, Shanko is doing federal census again." Oh. Shanko told everyone they had been officially recruited by the government. But the neighbors weren't convinced, his questions were, somehow. "He asked me how many slippers I own," one woman reported, frowning. Another neighbor whispered, "Me, I didn't answer him. Oh. That boy gives me trust issues. Imagine, he asked whether I use original seasoning cube or the fake one." But the real disaster happened when Shanko knocked on Auntie Caro's door. Now, Auntie Caro was the compound's young diva, always in bold lipstick, with questionable visitors dropping by after 10 p.m. Shanko adjusted his fake glasses and said politely, "Good evening, Ma. We're collecting data on weekly male visitor averages per household." Auntie Caro stared. "Come again?" Shanko nodded, very serious. "It's for population mobility analysis." She exploded. "Are you mad?" Before he could even blink, she grabbed his ear like it was a radio knob and dragged him straight to Mama Shanko's door. "Madam, come and see your journalist son. Oh. He's moving around with clipboard and nonsense questions." Shanko stood there holding a jar filled with crumpled papers and scribbled notes, basically a jar of community gossip. Mama Shanko snatched the jar, scanned the contents, and her eyes bulged. "Shanko. What in God's name is this?" Mommy, it's a census." "Nah," he said, all innocent. "I'm just helping the government plan better." "Plan what?" she screamed. "Your own funeral. Because that's what you're planning." That night, after a sound beating and a public apology tour to all affected neighbors, Shanko was grounded. He spent 3 full days inside, scrubbing floors, washing bedsheets, and frowning at his fate. But even as he scrubbed, he muttered to himself, "Next time, I'll be smarter. That's the only thing I got wrong." Now in Ajigunal, when a mother says, "I'm tired of this boy," just know one of 3 things. The child is possessed. The child is too intelligent for Earth. The child's name is definitely Shanko. Even the landlord once said, "That boy is not a human being. He's a walking public holiday of chaos." And that particular week? Shanko must have signed a deal with mischief itself. From Monday to Sunday, everyone caught stray bullets. It began Monday morning at 6:30 a.m., when Mama Chin's scream cracked the compound walls. "Who took my stew?" Her pot was sitting on the cooker, empty. No meat. No oil. Just ghost pepper residue. She was vibrating. "I cooked it last night. Goat meat, 8 pieces. Where is it?" The entire compound gathered like a courtroom. Shanko stood right in the middle, nodding like a concerned citizen. "This world is truly evil," he said, shaking his head with dramatic sorrow. "Whoever did this needs prayers." Well, later that day, someone discovered bones and saw stains behind the bathroom wall. And who had visited that spot earlier? Shanko. When confronted, he clutched his chest and said, "Me? I only went there to pray and reflect on Nigeria's condition." Then Tuesday arrived, and things got weirder. By 7 a.m., several slippers were spotted chilling peacefully on the zinc rooftops, as if they were enjoying the sunrise. Soon, neighbors were screaming, "Who threw my slippers up there? Where is my right leg of palm slippers?" Turns out, Shanko had told Kenny he was trying out a new science experiment. His theory: maybe rubber slippers can float like kites. He tied slippers to broomsticks, launched them into the sky like missiles, and giggled with pride every time one landed on the roof like a champion. When Mama Shanko saw her church slippers lounging up there, her blood boiled. She stormed in and barked, "Shanko! I carried you for 9 months, but I swear, if I find your receipt, I will return you immediately." By Wednesday evening, it was no longer funny. Strange voices began echoing from the communal bathroom. "Leave this place. I am the spirit of the toilet. I will trap you forever." People fled the bathroom with their buckets flying. One woman fell and nearly cracked her back. Even the most fearless man in the compound, Uncle Bullet, who once fought a goat for stealing his corn, came out trembling like a leaf in harmattan. "No argument again, oh," someone shouted. Turns out, Shanko had hidden a Bluetooth speaker inside a paint bucket and was playing creepy voice notes using Mama Shanko's phone. "I am the spirit of the Sokoway," the voice moaned. "Anyone who flushes without permission shall vanish." By Thursday evening, Shanko gathered Kenny and the other compound kids for his latest drama, a pretend wedding. He was the proud groom, Kenny's little sister became the bride, and they decorated the backyard with torn nylon, leaves, and pieces of cardboard. Shanko even used his mother's women's fellowship scarf as a bridal veil. It was all fun and games until the bride refused to sweep the compound later that evening. "I'm married now," she told her mother with full confidence. "I'm not allowed to do chores." The slap that followed sounded like thunder. The woman dragged her daughter by one hand and Shanko by the ear straight to Mama Shanko's door. "Come and see your son's ministry," she screamed. "He has turned my daughter into a housewife." Mama Shanko exploded. "Shanko! You're organizing wedding when you haven't even passed common mathematics." Shanko blinked. "Mommy, it's for exposure. Even the Bible said, 'He who finds a wife.'" Slap. Before he could finish the scripture, her palm completed the sermon. By Friday morning, Mama Shanko had entered full strike mode. She didn't cook, not because there wasn't food, but because her spirit had clocked out. She told herself, "Let hunger punish what I cannot discipline." By afternoon, Shanko was weak. His eyes were red. He sat on the floor, holding his ribs and begging, "Mommy please, I'll never play ghost again. I won't marry again. I won't catapult your slippers again. I'm reborn. Just rice and 2 eggs, please." She didn't flinch. "Cry till revelation. You will dry like smoked fish." At this point, the entire Ajagunal neighborhood knew Shanko by name. From the compound to the roadside suya joint, even the barber down the road would say, "That boy. Ah. You don't see him, but you feel his disturbance." After his 7-day mischief marathon, Shanko suddenly became responsible. By Saturday morning, he was up before dawn. He fetched water. He swept the corridor. He even greeted Uncle Bullet with, "Good morning, sir." The neighbors peeked through their windows. "Is that Shanko sweeping? Ah. Something big is coming. Rapture maybe." He went door to door, apologizing. "Sorry for the ghost voice. I was only testing echo technology. No more wedding simulations. No more airborne slippers. Then he hugged Mama Shanko and said, "Mommy, forgive me. I'll make you proud. I'll change." Mama Shanko looked at him. Then looked to the sky. God, is this a miracle or a mirage? But truly, it was another setup. Because Shanko was simply recharging. Like NEPA light, on today, off tomorrow. Never stable. Never trusted. By Wednesday morning, convinced her son had truly changed, Mama Shanko finally called him aside. "Your school's PTA meeting is on Friday. And you've not paid your fees or that sports levy since January." Shanko nodded solemnly. "Yes, Mommy." Mama Shanko exhaled like someone dropping a bag of cement. She reached into her black papa pattern purse and pulled out 2 dirty 500 Nigerian Nairas notes and 1 wrinkled 1,000 Nigerian Nairas note like it was gold from a shrine. "Take this," she said. "It's all I have. That's your school fees and PTA levy. Shanko, I beg, don't disgrace me." "I won't, Mommy," Shanko said, putting on his most innocent church boy face. "Go straight to school," she warned. "Don't follow Kenny, don't follow football, don't follow vibes, go, pay, and return home." "I promise," he said again, and off he went, dressed in a faded white school uniform, oversized sandals clapping as he walked, and his mother's warning playing in his head like a ringtone. But as he got to the junction, temptation was already waiting. Kenny. Kenny was leaning against the Accra seller's umbrella, grinning like someone who just saw Heaven's Gate. "Kai, I thought you wouldn't come," Kenny said. Shanko looked nervous. "See, Kenny, I'm going to pay school fees. I don't want problem." Kenny leaned closer and whispered like he was selling black market petrol. "You don't know. That new movie is out, Abako Village Part 2, The Witch Strikes Again." Shanko froze. "The one where they cook the pastor inside Ogbono soup?" "Yes. But this time, the pastor resurrected and is flogging witches with Holy Ghost Kaboko." Shanko's eyes widened like electric bulb. "How much?" "Nigerian Naira 500 for ticket. Popcorn 150 Nigerian Nairas, big size." Shanko started calculating. Movie, popcorn, Fanta, and he'd still have change for chin-chin and bubble gum. He looked up, looked around. No angel appeared to stop him. Decision made. They marched to the video center, a small zinc shack with wooden chairs, a cracked TV screen, and one angry uncle who barked, "If you talk again, I go off this fame." They squeezed into front row seats, popcorn in hand, and began their cinematic journey, shouting, "Yay," every time someone got spiritually slapped into a tree. One movie turned to 2. 2 turned to 3. When Shanko finally left, the sun was already tilting. It was past 2 p.m. He got home, clutched his stomach like a war survivor, and said, "Mommy, today was heavy. They gave us test, deep test." I nearly fainted. "PTA test?" she asked. "Yes, and spelling." It was too much. Then he disappeared into the room, covered himself with a wrapper like a suffering prophet, and slept like a lamb. But trouble was just warming up. 2 days later, Friday afternoon, Mama Shanko was at her market stall measuring crayfish when a woman in a brown dress walked up with a white piece of paper. "Good afternoon, madam. Sorry to disturb you. We haven't received your son's school fees or PTA dues." Mama Shanko's jaw dropped. "What? I gave him the money myself." The teacher looked confused. "He didn't pay a kobo. That evening, thunder didn't fall from the sky, it fell in the compound." Shanko. Shanko was outside chewing groundnuts and teasing lizards when he heard the call. He ran, but he didn't get far. Mama Shanko was already at the corridor, holding her black leather flogging belt, the one with wire reinforcement. The neighbors gathered like it was a boxing match. Shanko tried explaining. "Mommy, I was going to pay but—" "Don't lie to me, Shanko." "I'm not lying. I saw a madman, and he told me if I give him 500 Nigerian nairas, he would disappear. And he disappeared." Mama Shanko blinked. "Okay. Today, I will disappear your skin." And the flogging began. The compound, normally filled with baby cries, generator rumbles, and petty quarrels, fell into strange silence that Saturday. Because Mama Shanko, known for her regular shouting, was now quiet. She didn't shout when Shanko used her toothbrush to clean his sandals. She didn't chase him with broom when he spilled Gary on her Bible. She didn't even argue when he said he wanted to be a full-time YouTuber. She was just quiet. And in Nigeria, when a loud mother becomes silent, the end is near. That week had been hell for Mama Shanko. She worked extra shifts selling pepper and crayfish, borrowed small loans from her thrift group, and still couldn't gather enough for rent. She was saving up for Shanko's entrance exams, the same one Shanko said he wouldn't write because his destiny is comedy. Then the school sent a second letter, bold red letters at the top, fees still unpaid. On Saturday morning, she sat in her room, staring into space like someone who had misplaced her life. Her body was there, but her soul had traveled to Oral. Meanwhile, Shanko had just finished microwaving the leftover jollof rice from the night before. He'd even managed to sneak a cold bottle of Fanta from under the cupboard. Just as he was about to tiptoe to the backyard with his treasure, he passed his mother's room and paused. Through the door crack, he spotted her sitting on the edge of the bed. Not lying down. Not sleeping. Just still. One elbow on her knee, the other hand propping her head. Her eyes stared into space like she was watching pain in slow motion. "Mommy," he called gently. No answer. He walked in slowly. "Should I make tea for you?" She blinked once but didn't look up. "I'm fine," she said. But her voice was the opposite of fine. Her face looked like someone who'd cried but didn't want to be caught crying. Her eyes were puffy, not from cutting onions, but from cutting through life. That's when it hit him. She'd been crying. Shanko stood frozen. Something shifted inside him, an unfamiliar pressure in his chest. Guilt. Real, heavy, cement block guilt. His legs started to wobble. He stepped closer. "Mommy, are you sick?" She shook her head slowly. "No. I'm just tired." "Tired of what, Mommy?" She looked at him this time, and her tears started again, slow, quiet, honest tears. "Tired of hustling from morning till night. Tired of begging people for favors. Tired of raising a child who doesn't understand how much I give up every day, just so he can have something." And for the first time in his entire 9.5 years of mischief, Shanko saw his mother not as the shouting woman with flying slippers, but as a person. A tired, worn-out person who had carried too much for too long. He sank to the floor and held her feet. "Mommy. I'm sorry." She didn't move. "I swear, Mommy, I didn't know you were this tired. I thought you were like iron." "I am strong," she whispered. "But even iron bends." Then it happened. Shanko began to cry. Real tears, not the fake ones he used when avoiding punishment. "Please, Mommy. I promise, I will change. I won't give you stress again." She looked down at him, unconvinced. "You've said that before, Shanko." "No, this one is different. I felt it in my chest." She raised one eyebrow. "Where in the chest?" "Here. Near the left rib." That finally made her laugh, a soft, tired laugh, but real. That evening, Shanko became a reformed soul. He fetched 3 buckets of water, unasked. Washed plates before anyone noticed. swept the corridor. Even greeted Mama Bisa with, "Good evening Ma," the same woman he once called, "Compound Crocodile." Before bed, he brought a bowl of gari and groundnuts to his mom. "Mommy, I know today wasn't easy. But let's manage this one together." She looked at him in shock, then smiled and patted his head. "Thank you, my son." He sat beside her, sipping gari like a village philosopher. "Mommy?" "Yes. When I become rich, I'll buy you one new wrapper every Saturday. And a phone that never runs out of ringtone." She laughed from her belly, and in that moment, peace returned to their little world. 1 week later, the surprises continued. Shanko approached her after school, holding a torn exercise book with something written in pencil, "Shanko Enterprises, Pure Water Division." "Mommy, I want to start helping you. Let me sell pure water after school." She blinked. "You? Pure water?" "Yes. If I sell 1 bag, I'll keep 15 Nigerian nairas for myself, and give you the rest." She wanted to say no, but her market debt was growing, so she agreed. By that Friday, Shanko had sold 5 bags. One neighbor even gave him a 200 Nigerian nairas tip for saying, "God bless you, sir." He came home, dropped the money in her hand, and said, "For your survival and wrapper collection." That was when Mama Shanko finally broke. She held her chest, burst into tears, and said, "Shanko, you're beginning to act like someone I actually gave birth to." He smiled. "I've always been your son, Mommy. I just got distracted on the way." Final note from the author. If you still have your parents, don't break them before life does. Don't exhaust the people who would give you their last breath. If you must be something in this world, don't be Shanko 1.0. Be Shanko 2.0, the version that learns. Because some things in life can't be duplicated. If you enjoyed this story, give it a thumbs up. And please, share it with someone who needs a little reminder about love, mischief, and growth, and subscribe to my channel.